July is just around the corner, bringing a fresh wave of new game releases. And while this month might not be full of AAA titles, it does have several intriguing indie gems worth checking out. I'm your host Morgan, and these are our top picks of new games releasing in July. Starting off for the month is the first Descendant, a new looter shooter MMO similar to titles such as Warframe and Destiny. The main content of the game revolves around farming items that you can use to unlock new descendants and weapons. As for some of the in-game activities, you'll be able to repeat any missions you've completed at a higher difficulty, as well as void intercept battles and special operations missions. Hopefully we'll get a lot more things to do once we get the full launch. Outside of the limited in-game content, there is one other issue we could see throwing off potential players, and that's the monetization. As this is a Nexon game, it's going to be grindy with a pay-to-skip option. If you're looking to take down some Colossi, the first Descendant will be releasing on all platforms other than Switch on July 2nd. On that same day, we'll also be getting Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail. This one's going to be taking us to the continent of Toril. It's here where you'll begin a new adventure revolving around the Rite of Succession ceremony, which is to help determine the next leader of Toriel. There are a few notable changes that will be coming with this expansion, such as the level cap increase from 90 to 100, as well as 2 new character classes and 1 new playable race. Also, the game will be receiving its first major graphics update since its relaunch in 2013. If you've been taking a break for a while, it sounds like it'll be an excellent time to jump back in. Dawntrail will be releasing to all platforms other than Switch on July 2nd. 1 week later, we'll be getting Once Human, a survival looter shooter MMO taking place in a post-apocalyptic future. The game has a lot going for it, and is honestly one of the more interesting survival games we've seen. The main content of the game will have you traversing the open world dealing with various enemies, world bosses, dynamic events, and strongholds. There are also 6 dungeons in the game with multiple difficulty levels you'll be able to pick from. As this is a survival game, you'll need to manage your thirst and hunger, as well as a sanity gauge, which makes sense when you see some of the strange things going on in this world. As you would expect, there is also a base building aspect, and this is where you'll be doing all of your crafting and upgrading. Lastly, the game will have optional PvP servers for those of you who prefer the more challenging experience. If you're interested in surviving this post-apocalyptic future, Once Human will be releasing on PC July 9th. 2 days later, we'll be getting Angerfoot, a fast-paced FPS full of door-kicking action. It's an interesting looking game, and happens to be from the same developer behind Broforce, which speaks for itself. In this game, the city has become overrun with merciless gangsters, and you've taken it upon yourself to bring them down while expanding your sneaker collection. Each pair of shoes has their own ability associated with it and can be upgraded. With such a variety in shoes, it'll be up to you to decide which pair is best suited for the job, offering tons of replayability and experimentation. If you want to learn the secret of the Angerfoot, this one will be releasing on PC July 11th. After that, we'll be getting EvilVEvil, a live service fast-paced shooter where you play as a vampire taking on hordes of enemies. The main premise is that in the future, supernatural beings have begun taking to the surface and are no longer secret. It's at this point that an evil cult that threatens humanity has begun to emerge. You'll have the option to go with this one either in solo or co-op mode with a choice of 3 classes: Assassin, Berserker, or Arcanist. Each offers their own strengths and weaknesses, but with the help of artifacts, you'll be able to mold them into the perfect hunter. Finally, the game offers an extensive array of weapons, each of which can be modified to suit your playstyle. If you're looking to tear your way through hordes of cultists, EvilVEvil will be releasing on all major platforms other than Switch on July 16th. On the same day, we're getting Cataclismo. This one is a strategy game centered around building castles and defending humanity against swarms of horrors. This game takes a unique stance on the RTS genre. During the day, you'll be building up your castle brick by brick, similar to the way that Legos work. Then, once night strikes, hordes of enemies will arrive to attempt to tear it down. The part that really takes it up a notch is the physics system. As the buildings begin to crumble away, any falling bricks will crush enemies and allies alike. This gives you a whole other aspect to think about when it comes to creating your defenses. Outside of the campaign, the game also offers 3 additional modes: Skirmish, Creative, and Survival. If you want to show off your strategic building skills, Cataclismo will be releasing on PC July 16th. 2 days later, we'll be getting Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, a Souls-like action RPG with an 18th century aesthetic. The story takes place in the world of Cain, 10 years after the door to the Great Below was opened, unleashing the gods and their armies of the dead. You play as Nor Vanek, an elite member of the Coalition on a quest for vengeance against the gods. Alongside her is the mysterious fox named Inky, who not only guides you throughout the world, but also enhances your combat skills with his magical abilities. The combat in the game is similar to Souls games, but with more rapid mobility taking a form they call Souls-like. As you'd expect, you'll need to learn your enemy's moves in order to figure out the best way to attack or counter. When it comes to attacking, you'll have three main categories of weapons: melee, flintlock pistols, and secondary black powder weapons. If you're up for taking on the gods, Flintlock will be releasing to all major platforms other than Switch on July 18th. On that same day, we'll be getting Dungeons of Hinterberg, an action RPG with a social side. In it, you'll be playing as Louisa, a corporate worker who is burnt out from her job and has decided to take a vacation to the town of Hinterberg for some nice therapeutic monster slaying and dungeon delving. The game offers a diverse mix of social interactions, exploration, puzzle solving, and monster slaying. Becoming on good terms with NPCs can often lead to receiving special items such as new magical abilities or even buffs to your health and MP pool. This will come in handy as while exploring, you'll often come across several enemies you'll have to deal with. The combat in the game is somewhat reminiscent of a Zelda game, mostly centering around melee with some magic mixed in. Finally, the dungeons in the game are filled with puzzles and will require you to observe your surroundings and use all the tools at your disposal. If you're looking to take a slaycation, Dungeons of Hinterberg will be releasing on Xbox and PC July 18th. One day later, we'll be getting Kunitsu-Gami, Path of the Goddess. This one is an action strategy game where you must cleanse the mountain of all defilement to return peace to the land. The way the system works is through a two-cycle process. The first part takes place during the daytime. During this stage, you'll be able to purge the land and guide the maiden. While doing this, you'll come across villagers who can be rescued and assigned various combat roles. The second part takes place during the night. This is where you'll need to utilize all the resources you've gathered and position villagers to fight off the Seethi while protecting the maiden. One thing that really draws our attention to this game is the combat, as it has this beautiful aesthetic and it's just something we find really interesting. If you're looking to purge the mountains of defilement, Kunitsu-Gami will be releasing to all major platforms other than Switch July 19th. Rounding things off our list of games for the month is Hell Survivors, an isometric bullet hell roguelite. Your main goal is to survive a 20-minute onslaught of demonic hordes to escape from purgatory. It's simple in theory, but extremely hard in practice as these hordes are dense and quickly become unmanageable, but that's part of what makes these games so much fun. Currently, there are 5 heroes to choose from, with 20 skill trees offering 4 upgrades per tree. This should provide ample amount of build variety, and I'm sure people will start making guides as they figure out the best path forward. Finally, the developer did mention they will be expanding the content for full release, so we'll just have to wait and see what all gets added. If you think you've got what it takes to survive purgatory, Hell Survivors will be releasing on PC July 26th. That's going to wrap things up for the month of July. However, if there's a game that we didn't mention that you're interested in, feel free to drop it into the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure you're hitting the like button and subscribing, that way you can make sure to be notified whenever we drop a new video. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.